welcome to the House of the Seven Gables. My name is Ann McCamey, and I'm very pleased that I'll be able to show you through our houses as they're decorated for the holidays. This year our theme is a Victorian child's Christmas. The decorations are done following a 14-year-long tradition by North Shore Garden Clubs. In addition, this year we have the rooms coming to life. They're populated by mannequins that we have coming to us courtesy of the Colonial Dames in the Peabody Essex Museum, and these are dressed in period costumes courtesy of the Chestnut Street Associates. I think you'll enjoy seeing the beautiful decorations, and we're very, very pleased to be able to share them with you. So please enjoy the tour. We're in the kitchen of the House of the Seven Gables, also known as the Turner Ingersoll Mansion, built in 1668 by John Turner I, and decorated for us in this room by the Hamilton Wenham Garden Club. You'll see a Victorian child's tea party in action. They have borrowed dolls and period toys from the Wenham Museum, and you can see quite a sumptuous tea party in front of the fireplace. In addition, of course, we have stockings around the fireplace, and all sorts of wonderful toys hidden in every corner. Notice as well the creative use of flower materials. I think this is really quite a charming room. Those of you who've read the novel remember that Hepzibah Pynchon, one of the characters, opens a small scent shop off her kitchen, and we're pleased to be able to present the scent shop to our visitors. You may remember that Hepzibah was very unhappy about having to run a scent shop out of her home to maintain herself and make a living. I think if she could see it as it looks today, decorated by the Hamilton Wenham Garden Club, she might feel quite differently. It's a very cheery place. We have a boys and girls Christmas in progress here, complete with games from the Wenham Museum and a number of wonderful floral interpretations by the Garden Club themselves. Really makes it quite a different place. The rest of the inventory there is what we put in to resemble the inventory described by Hawthorne in the novel. He describes a number of small items you could buy for a few cents that you might need to find nearby in your neighborhood. Sort of the early equivalent of our modern convenience stores. We'll now go from the kitchen through this very narrow passage into the dining room, where we'll be able to see the Victorian period really come to life. Please come with me. The passageway is quite narrow, and you can see here that the chimney borders one side of it. We have to ask visitors to watch their heads as they come through. And we're glad to welcome you into the dining room. Welcome to the dining room. This is our room that has the most direct connection with Hawthorne, perhaps, in this house, because in this room his cousin Susanna Ingersoll entertained him at many meals when he was a frequent visitor in the 1830s and 1840s. For this season, this room's been decorated by the arrangers of Marblehead. You'll be able to see in this room a small child who's been invited to see a gingerbread house and enjoy and perhaps even taste the holiday delicacies. Very beautiful arrangements in this room as well, and we feel that it's a very special room because of its showing the influence of the China trade in Salem also. So please look at both the history and the floral interpretations and enjoy your visit to our very special part of the 1830s and 1840s. We have a wonderfully lavish centerpiece here in the dining room, created by the arrangers of Marblehead. Really lends a Victorian air to the room. Might even bring back some of the days of Hawthorne and his cousin Susanna sitting around the table. Those chairs that you see around the table are actually chairs that belonged to Susanna Ingersoll. So we feel very lucky to have those as well. It's a wonderful Victorian holiday setting. Behind the table you're able to see the candy house, and you can see a very highly tempted little boy reaching out to sample it. No doubt that's what really would have happened in the Victorian period. Again, the arrangers have done an absolutely beautiful job of creating this house, and it lends a true holiday spirit to the room. Very colorful and very beautiful. Certainly tempting to any child that walks in, as it is to many of the adults. You can see here the beautiful fruit arrangements that the arrangers have done. And behind the fruit arrangements, we have two very interesting paintings, the ports of Macau and Canton, which were important to the China trade that I mentioned. In fact, Susanna Ingersoll's father was one of the people who helped to open that trade. And these paintings are more or less an equivalent of a picture postcard. In the days before photography, you would purchase something like this in the towns that you visited on your travels. This way you could show your family and your friends where you'd been. Of course, the Christmas decorations add a little bit of extra interest, and we're very pleased to have those there. The crowning glories of this room is the wreath that the arrangers have created. It features hydrangea and a number of other dried flowers. Again, very Victorian color scheme, very lavish wreath hanging here over our fireplace. Certainly adds a festive touch to the room. The dining room hides one of the best secrets of the house and also one of the most interesting conveniences. We have here a wood storage closet. Inside this closet you would be able to keep your firewood. It also has, built into the side wall, two warming ovens where you could keep your next course warm, so all the clutter stays out of the way and your guests never see all the inconveniences of food preparation. The best thing it hides, though, is deep within the closet. The back wall appears to be solid, but a good tug shows inside our very famous secret staircase. And I'll be very pleased to show you up this staircase right now. The secret staircase is 20 narrow winding steps to the top. Timid visitors do have another way they can take, but we recommend, if you're at all able, you take this route because it's so much fun. So many of these houses were built by ship's captains. Perhaps that's the reason they felt comfortable with the narrow passageways. Very tight fit for shoulders. So tall and big men have an interesting trip up these stairs. We're not altogether sure why the secret staircase was built, but our best theory suggests that it was part of the Underground Railroad and was used to hide escaping slaves as they made their way up into Canada. And the secret staircase leads us to Clifford's room, named after a character in the novel. Of course, is the character in Hawthorne's novel who's a little bit woebegone because of having spent many years in prison unjustly. He's also able to make rather mysterious appearances downstairs, presumably by way of the secret staircase. This room this year is decorated by the cottage gardeners of Marblehead. They feature a number of toys throughout the room, a gift of a horn and drum, and a number of nutcrackers and a small Christmas tree. Again, a very beautiful, childlike room with wonderful old-fashioned toys available for you to look at and imagine the joy of playing with. You can also notice the wonderful old-fashioned clock, complete with some more hydrangea decoration. And just to the left of the clock, a portrait of Horace Connolly. He was the son by adoption of Susanna Ingersoll, which made him a third cousin to Nathaniel Hawthorne. They were contemporaries. Interpretations here in the attic were done by the cottage gardeners of Marblehead. You'll see a great deal of emphasis on toys. Here we see a folk art Christmas tree decorated with a number of origami birds and animals. And of course, as we would expect, gifts under the tree waiting to be opened. Another exciting aspect. You'll notice that behind the tree, in the absence of a fireplace, we do have a chimney that would have provided a little bit of heat. This room would be very uncomfortable during the winter, so we don't believe it was used very frequently, at least not by members of the families that lived here. It may very well have served as servants' quarters. Could also have been storage, or it could have been a children's play area. And today it looks like a delightful place for children to play with all sorts of Christmas surprises. There's our batten door from the earliest days of the house, now preserved, and we have a replica of that downstairs. Looking around the attic, you can also find lots of floral treasures from the cottage gardeners. They've done a beautiful job here. Trying to find a place for me to do that. It's Really a very exciting place for children to discover, even when it's not decorated, but this makes it even more special. Number of Victorian style dolls and toys. Make it absolutely beautiful. You'll be able to see as well that we have the original roof beams here. It's the best place in the house to see how the house is constructed. Brick with lath and plaster serves as all the insulation we have in this part of the house. The roof beams date back to 1668. They're held together with wooden pegs called trunnels, and those expand and contract with the extreme temperatures we have in this part of the country. Decorations also feature a wonderful lighted dollhouse, sure to delight any child who found himself here looking around, looking for hidden treasure and adventure. A very, very beautiful and enchanting room. One of the things we like to do with visitors here is to introduce them to the way the house was built. This is the house as it looked originally, and within the first couple of years after the original construction in 1668, this lean-to portion was constructed. This part was added next, completed within 10 or 12 years, and finally the last part was added to give us the house that we know today as the House of the Seven Gables. And since you can't possibly back far enough away from our house now to count them, we do like to explain to visitors what a gable is and allow them to do that count here. A gable must tie into the center roof line, reach an acute angle, and have a window. And so we can count them starting with this one: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is the house that is famous today as the House of the Seven Gables. The rocking horse is a very special touch. He's here year-round, though not usually decorated with a wreath. Very childlike. He's from Germany. We're very, very pleased to have him in the collection. Always attracts a lot of attention. He looks particularly festive with his wreath now. The dolls, again, are part of the decorator's decision. I think they certainly add a very special touch. Lend that Victorian child's Christmas idea one more time. The steps are a bit of a mystery. They go up to a skylight in the roof that we believe was used as a scuttle window to give access to the chimney in the event of a fire in the flue. So the house is full of mysterious twists and turns and lots of interesting architectural history. Just abounds behind every corner. Favorite room on the tour at Christmas or any other time of the year is this one. We call it Phoebe's room, and this year it's decorated by the village gardeners of Topsfield, who've used a number of wonderful materials, including roses and rose hips, to bring you the Victorian look. You can see their interpretations throughout the room. Also, I want you to notice the beauty of the room itself. As you look around, you're able to see 3 wonderful views: the garden, the sea, and the street. So we hope that you'll come and have a chance to look at those in person. This room is a very special one this year because of the theme being carried out with the idea of a mother and child ready to open presents and a table all set for breakfast. A very special room anytime, and even more so because of the wonderful children's theme that we see in play. Toys, doll carriages, and again, all sorts of flowers hiding here and there to surprise the visitor. The village gardeners have chosen to interpret the Victorian child's Christmas theme by showing a mother and child prepared to open presents around the tree. You can also notice a Parker Brothers game. I think that's wonderful, the tie-in to Salem in the older days. Parker Brothers was one of the wonderful industries here. The table in this room is already set for breakfast, so I'm sure as soon as the presents are open that they'll enjoy a wonderful Victorian feast to begin their Christmas day. The parlor this year is done by the Salem Garden Club, again featuring the Victorian theme, and I think they've carried it out extremely well in their use of materials, including lots of velvets, lots of rose and pink shades, hydrangea and roses, and all sorts of beautiful things. This room features a very small secret, a little wood storage closet. Unfortunately, there is no secret staircase here, but I'm told that in the old days, Father Christmas used to hide here and appear from this actual space to surprise the children, who were only allowed into this room at Christmas time when it was time to open their presents. A little special corner of the room, and not much space for Father Christmas if he's a very big man. One of the truly delightful aspects of the decor in this room for this season is the teddy bear tea party going on the floor. A tiny little bear sure to appeal to any child, and what appears to be a mother and father bear, all enjoying their Christmas morning tea party. Of course, as usual, we see gifts all around the room, as well as a number of wonderful floral arrangements by the Salem Garden Club. The mother is obviously preparing the room for Christmas morning. There's a stocking on every chair, filled with wonderful Victorian surprises for the children, and Christmas crackers on the table, a bit of a British tradition that came across. So it truly looks like a children's delight, and since this room was off limits to them other times of the year, would be even more so. A number of exciting surprises await. This room also features a lovely Christmas tree, decorated with a number of candles, cones, and fans, giving it a very lacy, delicate, Victorian appearance, including candy. So certainly that would delight children as well. As with all the garden clubs, this one has carried out the children's theme just beautifully in this room. Again, the most important rooms of the house, as this one is, will face the sea because that was much more important than anything happening on Derby Street in the early days of the house. Spreading over the lawn, we have one of our treasures that is not actually part of the tour, but we're very, very happy to have this wonderful old horse chestnut tree. It's huge, and we believe it to be as old as the house, so it is truly one of our most valuable treasures, even though we're not responsible for its being here. Wharves and beautiful Salem Harbor greet you as you go out the front door or as you peer out the windows of this room and Phoebe's room upstairs. Front entry hall features our batten door. Upstairs in the attic you saw the original. This is a reproduction. Some visitors refer to this as early plywood. It consists of 3 layers of wood held together with a number of nails that keep the wood together and keep it from warping. A popular bit of folklore is that wealthier families had more nails in the door. We don't believe that to literally be true. The nails simply serve the purpose of keeping the wood together, but a wealthy family might have a better door, and a better door might have more nails. So perhaps that's the origin of that bit of mythology. Behind me is Nathaniel Hawthorne's birthplace, built around 1750 and moved to this site in the 1950s to preserve it when it was threatened by progress in downtown Salem. It's as delightful as the House of the Seven Gables this season, decorated by the Winter Garden Club of Marblehead, the Driftwood Garden Club of Marblehead, the Topsfield Garden Club, and the Friendly Garden Club of Beverly. It's a wonderful place to visit anytime, but especially during the holiday season, so we'd encourage visitors to come out and have a look at these wonderful floral interpretations as well. And we do hope that you'll all have a chance to visit these houses during your holiday season, and we'll be most happy to see you even after the holidays. Thank you for coming.